Chapter 552. This fried chicken is so *king delicious, and it tastes so good when paired with cola. Wife, don't you think so? Wang Debao said casually. Right now, the whole team's harmony was pretty good, and they were talking and laughing. Bai Zixin had a helpless look on her face. My husband is like a child sometimes, be more serious. Brother Wang, this is called being straightforward. Qing Tian patted Wang Debao's shoulder. Wang Debao smiled and said, Wife, do you see that? Brother Qing understands me so well. Then you go with your brother Qing, don't look for me. Bai Zixin snorted. Brother Qing. Those who don't understand would think that you are called Brother Qing. Sister-in-law is angry, quickly go and coax her. Qing Tian laughed loudly, then picked up a napkin and wiped his hands. After getting rid of the family bucket on the table, everyone's expression became serious. Recently, our reputation has been rising, and we have been made a lot of scapegoats. Feng Di said with a gloomy face. Feng Di snorted coldly, we are even made a scapegoat for the death of an aristocratic family's family head. This is really interesting. This is a complete reshuffle. Right now, the only aristocratic family left in the north and the south is Dongfang family, and it's a woman who doesn't have any fighting strength. Bai Zixin snorted. She feels that this is too unfair. They are both women, so why is that Dongfang Yue the family head? Wang Debao sighed and said helplessly, right now, Voidless Realm can cover the sky with one hand, what else can we do? What we need is a battle. Qing Tian laughed lightly, and a folded napkin was placed in front of him. Everyone was confused. Voidless Realm or gods, in layman's terms, strength is everything. A new year is coming, and we are going to become the saviors of the world. Giants. In the end, it's a title given by humans, can't we title ourselves? Voidless Realm has a reason to kill people, but will they kill a person who saved the cultivation world? Hearing Qing Tian's words, Bai Zixin finally understood. Since we have a reputation, we can also snatch things, so why not? I'm only interested in treasures, I'm not interested in anything else. Feng Di said lightly. However, what Bai Zixin needed was a reputation, so it wasn't a conflict. As for what Qing Tian wanted, no one knew. Qing Tian stood up and clapped his hands, let's go out and welcome the dark year together. Wanda Plaza in Long and City. Yihua was currently hugging onto Ali, and his two wives were snuggling up to him while looking at the countdown timer on the big screen. Donghuang Li's big eyes looked at the screen excitedly, and she couldn't help but start counting down with everyone, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom boom boom, magnificent fireworks erupted from the skyscraper, mesmerizing everyone. Cheers suddenly rang out as the people in the square celebrated the arrival of the new year. Daddy, Mommy, Happy Chinese New Year. This was the first time that Donghuang Li was celebrating Chinese New Year together with her daddy and mommy. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji were very happy as well. This kind of life was rather comfortable, and they were able to stay away from those disputes. However, sometimes, those disputes would come looking for you. There was nothing they could do about it. Daddy, Mommy, won't you kiss Ali? Donghuang Li said pitifully. This little fellow sure knows how to act cute. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji sat on one side of Baiji and kissed Baiji's chubby cheeks. This caused little Ali to be extremely happy. Where's Daddy's? Yihua helplessly kissed onto his daughter's forehead, while Donghuang Li happily kissed onto her father's cheek. This truly is a warm moment. The family of four ate all kinds of snacks, then walked back home. After Donghuang Li got over her excitement, she laid onto her father's embrace and slept soundly. On the spacious and empty street, there would be groups of youngsters walking past from time to time, bringing along a joyous atmosphere. Do we have any goals for this year? Yihua asked curiously while carrying on to his daughter. Right now, Donghuang Baiji was no longer the blood queen, she was now a little woman, eat and drink well, a family of 4, no, a family of 6. After finished speaking, Donghuang Baiji rubbed onto her stomach. Qingye said, Yihua, your burden right now is very heavy. You need to earn more money to support your wife and children. I heard that working at the construction site is pretty good, you can earn a few hundred a day, it is enough for our family's expenses. Daddy, are you going to work at the construction site? Ali is going to help Daddy carry the bricks too. Dong Huangli said drowsily, then went back to sleep. Yihua shook his head helplessly, I will stay at home to take care of the children, the two of you can go out and work. Yihua, how can you be like this? Other people's husbands are the ones who support their wives. The two wives immediately started acting coquettishly. In actuality, Dong Huangli was just pretending to sleep, if not, Daddy and Mommy wouldn't be saying such mushy words. Ali felt goosebumps all over her body, especially when she heard Mommy acting coquettishly, the strict image of Mommy in her heart was completely toppled. From the looks of it, only Daddy is able to train Mommy to be obedient. Hee, outstanding men don't need to work. Yihua said proudly. Qingye was already convinced by Yihua's twisted logic. Donghuang Baiji still hadn't gotten used to it. Do you have the heart to let your pregnant wife go out and work? I am very at ease, who would dare to provoke you too? You. Hee. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji still didn't know of Yihua's personality. If he could stay at home, he definitely wouldn't go out. No matter if he was in Voidless Realm or here, it would be the same. However, this is also good, at least we won't have to worry about Yihua going out to flirt with other women and finding trouble for ourselves. It will be New Year's in February, right? Yihua said faintly. When I just arrived here, I completely didn't know what New Year's was for. However, since everyone is celebrating New Year's, I can't just not celebrate it, right? Thus, I spent the past few years with Wei Chang and Lai Gu, that dog. It was cold and cheerless, completely devoid of any atmosphere. After simply eating dinner, I would go back to my room to sleep. There was no meaning to celebrating New Year's at all, I didn't even watch the Spring Festival Gala. And when Yihua saw other people's families being together, he felt very gloomy. That's right, I am about to give birth. Qingye rubbed onto her round tummy, and a motherly radiance could be seen on her pretty face. Donghuang Baiji smiled, then, let me congratulate you on becoming a mother first. Same to you too. Qingye said jokingly. I was discussing New Year's matters with you too, why did you two start talking about children? Yihua said petulantly. He really disregarded my words. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji spread out their hands. Yihua is just like that. Alright, how do you want to celebrate New Year's? Qingye asked curiously as she lightly leaned onto her husband's shoulder. Donghuang Baiji, who was at the side, was the same as well. Yihua said faintly, in the past, I have always been cold and cheerless. Therefore, this year, I plan to have a big reunion. I plan to call everyone over and celebrate New Year's with everyone, what do you think? Chapter 553. In the blink of an eye, it was February 4th. During this month, the cultivation world was quiet and nothing major happened. Perhaps it was because it was too quiet, it gave people the feeling that a storm was coming. But in the world of ordinary people, today was New Year's Eve. It was a good day for families to reunite. The whole of China was enveloped in a strong New Year atmosphere. And in Longtan City, it was even more so. Red lanterns were hung all over the streets and alleys, and there were even couplets pasted on the doors. It was very festive. Everyone was welcoming the new year, hoping that there would be a good omen, hoping that in the new year, the whole family would be safe and sound. In Scenic Garden. Death Mage and Sun Fong were currently preparing for the gathering. Tonight was the gathering that was arranged by his honor, and this gathering cannot be sloppy. As a little brother, to be able to attend such an occasion, what kind of glory is that? Bone, haven't you changed your clothes? We're leaving. Sun Fong was wearing a red flowery cheongsam. Her curvaceous figure was extremely sexy. Coupled with her beautiful face, she was indeed worthy of being called the proud daughter of the South. However, Sun Fong's face was filled with anxiety. GGG, Royal Translation, these clothes are so hard to wear, can't I just wear a robe? Sun Fong seemed to understand, what do you look like wearing a black robe? Your wife said that tonight's theme is a festive one, so everyone has to wear red. Even LV Liang is wearing red. Don't waste time, hurry up. GGG, Royal Translation, human clothes are really hard to wear. Death Mage had no other choice and called Sun Fong over. When Sun Fong saw Death Mage's necktie, she immediately lost her composure. Are you trying to strangle yourself to death? Is this how you tie a tie? Death Mage didn't want to move anymore and spread out his hands. His meaning was very clear, help me. Sun Fong shook her head, then carefully helped Death Mage to tie his necktie. Who asked me to like this stupid skeleton? Yihua picked up the red suit and put it on the Death Mage. Not to mention, the Death Mage really looked a bit handsome. A skull, paired with a red suit, it looked a bit interesting. As for Sun Fong, she stood at the side and looked at the two people in the mirror. A warm expression appeared on her face and she felt that they were quite compatible. In Wei Chang's room, the same scene was happening. Lil Tang, check if my tie is crooked. Wei Chang stretched his neck and carefully observed his appearance. The current Wei Chang paid great attention to this aspect. Tang Wei was wearing a red long dress, and within her innocence, there was a hint of sexiness. Wei Chang was also a man, and even though he hugged this kind of woman every day, he did not make a move. As for Tang Wei, she was already numb to it, and no longer held any hope. Let's take a look. Tang Wei said with a light smile. When Wei Chang turned around, Tang Wei stretched out her hand and smoothed her hair. My Uncle Wei is so handsome. I mustn't steal his honor's limelight. It's better for me to keep a low profile. Tang Wei immediately let out a light laugh. Uncle Wei even knows how to joke now. Uncle Wei, stop being so narcissistic, let's hurry up and go, everyone might have already arrived. Tang Wei urged. We can't be late, don't let his honor scold us during the new year. Wei Chang checked his attire once more. After he felt relieved, he went downstairs with Tang Wei. When he got downstairs, he exclaimed, Lil Tang, is the red packet ready? Don't worry, everything is ready. Tang Wei felt that Uncle Wei was getting old and forgetful. Wei Chang nodded his head. I reckon that we will be able to get back the money we spent on the red packet. His honor will definitely give us a big red packet. Alright, stop thinking about it, let's hurry up and go. Tang Wei smiled helplessly. We are all so strong, yet we are still thinking about whether or not we will be able to get back the money we spent on the red packet. On the other side, Lai Gu was also urging them. You all are more or less done, what are you all going to dress up like? Are you all going to dress up like his honor's wife? Lai Gu had long been dressed in a red suit, and he looked at the three women helplessly. Lai Gu was still wearing a delicate and beautiful lipstick as he said casually, we are no match for his honor's wife, but we cannot lose face for his honor. No matter what, you are still his honor's subordinate. You women just like to compare yourselves, what's there to compare yourselves with? Jinjin, wear that huge ring that I gave you last time. Wenxia, wear that huge diamond necklace as well. Lai Gu also joined in the dressing up of the three women, seemingly wanting to hang the things that he was most proud of on the three women. The three celebrities shook their heads helplessly. Haha, men. Remember to bring red packets. Luckily my family has a lot of people. His Honor is going to pack 4 red packets for us at once. Ha. Lai Gu was very pleased with himself. His Honor is very good at saving money. Wanting His Honor's money is equivalent to wanting His Honor's life. Lai Gu was still smiling. Be careful, His Honor might say that he is going to stew you again. That won't happen, it has already been over 1,000 years, isn't it still fine? Lai Gu understood His Honor very well. Although His Honor has a sharp tongue, his heart is like tofu. Of course, this was only towards his own people. The 3 women smiled but did not say anything. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yi Hong sat on the bed and blankly looked at his wife who was putting on makeup. He was very puzzled. Wife, you are already so beautiful, why are you still putting on makeup? Yi Hong asked curiously. Zishan rolled her eyes at her husband. You don't even understand this. Are you trying to gain face for yourself, idiot? Ah. I don't want this. Yi Hong was a little embarrassed. What do you mean don't want? My wife is beautiful, so I have to show off, do you understand? Zishan was also indirectly praising herself. Yi Hong let out a long sigh, women. Zishan glared at Zishan, causing the latter to immediately cower. Are the red packets prepared? Zishan asked lightly. And they are all prepared. Zishan nodded her head. Big brother has moved out, and our family's burden has increased again. I hope that His Honor will give us a big red packet this time. His Honor will definitely give us a big red packet. Yi Hong was filled with confidence. His Honor is such a magnanimous person, how could he not give us a red packet? Right now, LV Shu had already moved out of the villa and was no longer the third wheel. Other than going to work at night, LV Shu would be lying on the big bed of the 2 sisters every day, enjoying the fortune that a man should have. LV Shu leaned against the wall and looked at the 2 sisters' faces that were exactly the same. She truly felt that she had hit the jackpot. His Honor is such a good person, he didn't betroth Zishan to me. I really can't afford to offend a shrew like her. Our family's blood race sisters are still the best. Furthermore, blood race's specialty is sucking. No matter if it is sucking blood or other things, being able to suck blood or suck other things would make you feel extremely happy. Are you 2 going to a beauty contest? LV Shu asked curiously. Serena drew her eyebrows and said lightly, your little brother's wife is so beautiful, we can't lose face for you. Chapter 554. What a little vixen. LV Liang lifted her sister's chin and greedily sucked on it. Her sister smiled and continued to draw her eyebrows. LV Liang was also a winner in life. However, as one of the 7 deadly sins, Zhu Tian was a little dissatisfied and absent-minded. Zhu Tian, do you think we should dress like this? Dongfang Yuan and Guan Yinxin walked in front of Zhu Tian, wanting to hear his opinion. Today, Zhu Tian had also taken off his white suit and wore a red one. He sat on a mahogany chair and drank tea as if he did not hear anything. Dongfang Yuan whispered, Zhu Tian. What's wrong? Zhu Tian returned to his senses and exclaimed. This kind of expression was very rare in the eyes of the 2 women. Dongfang Yuan was a lot better now. She seemed to have walked out of the shadow. This was also thanks to Zhu Tian comforting her and not despising her. At that time, Dongfang Yuan had run away from home several times, feeling that she was not worthy of Zhu Tian and was not worthy of his care. Zhu Tian forcefully found Dongfang Yuan and forcefully locked her in the house. Fortunately, Dongfang Yuan was obedient in the end, which made Zhu Tian feel a lot more at ease. However, the 2 women also discovered that Zhu Tian was not normal. It seemed that their man had indeed fallen in love with that woman. Although they knew, they did not say anything. In any case, they would support Zhu Tian unconditionally. Very good. Zhu Tian looked at the two women and nodded. He would see Brett again soon. His mood was very complicated. Seeing Zhu Tian like this, Dongfang Yuan and Guan Yanxin were unhappy. If they could make Zhu Tian happy again, they would do anything. However, they were powerless. Guan Yanxin pulled Dongfang Yuan. She liked you the most. Go and say a few words. Dongfang Yuan walked in front of Zhu Tian and slowly squatted down. She held Zhu Tian's slender hand. Zhu Tian, if you like it, be bolder. This was the first time Dongfang Yuan expressed her opinion. As an ordinary woman, she also needed courage. Zhu Tian gently held Dongfang Yuan's slender hand and pulled her into his embrace. Thank you. Zhu Tian, as long as you are good, we are willing to do anything. Dongfang Yuan said softly. Zhu Tian was very gratified. He also hugged Guan Yanxin in his embrace. Don't say anything tonight. Let's celebrate the new year. The two girls nodded sweetly. On the second floor of Leisure Bar in Long An City. Zizi, what do you think of my clothes? Qing Yutong turned around, then asked happily. Yi Zizi was wearing a bright red princess dress and a big red round hat on her head. Her two ponytails fluttered behind her head. She looked adorable and noble at the same time, which was quite surprising. And when Yi Zizi looked at Qing Yutong's backless attire, she pouted her mouth. Everyone here is a married man. Who are you going to seduce? Yi Zizi's words were like 10,000 critical strikes, and Qing Yutong glared at Yi Zizi fiercely. Can't I seduce my brother-in-law? Your sister will beat the sh*t out of you. Yi Zizi's words could infuriate people to death now. Her eloquence had improved. Qing Yutong was in despair, and she stomped her feet on the ground. I'll change. That's right. What a waste of such a good figure, sighed Yi Zizi. Are you looking for a fight? It's not like you can win against me. Yi Zizi pouted her mouth and had a look of, you can't win against me no matter what. Qing Yutong felt that she was going to go crazy. This Yi Zizi has changed too much recently. Every single sentence she says is very sharp. At this moment, Yi Hua suddenly pushed open the door. Wearing a custom-made red suit, he was incomparably handsome. Just now, he heard the noise inside, so he came to take a look. What's wrong? Yi Hua asked indifferently. Qing Yutong pouted her small mouth, then pounced onto Yi Hua's embrace. Brother-in-law Zizi is bullying me. Yi Zizi shook her head. Women. Recently, Yi Hua had often praised Yi Zizi, but right now, he had no choice but to say it. Zizi, Yutong is still young, don't bully her. Still young. How am I, Qing Yutong, small? Yi Zizi laughed to the point of rolling on the bed. Brother-in-law, you are bullying me too. I'm not going to play with you guys anymore, I'm going to look for my big sister. Qing Yutong snorted and walked out of the room. Yi Hua laughed lightly, then said to Yi Zizi, stop laughing, everyone is more or less here. And, I got it. Yi Hua walked down the stairs and looked at everyone in the hall. A lot of emotions welled up in his heart. My subordinates have all found their own homes, and every single one of those women are incomparably beautiful. To say that they are my subordinates' wives is also something that gives me a lot of face. However, in how many years has it been, when has there ever been such an atmosphere? In the past, if I wasn't in the middle of a massacre, I would be preparing to massacre. There was no laughter, only an endless amount of blood. But look at the current situation. My subordinates are all laughing and chatting happily. Perhaps, in a few more years, children will be born in groups. At that time, I, the Supreme Overlord, will be leading the entire team to battle on the battlefield. How great of a moment would that be? Yihua's gaze looked towards Qingye. My stomach is already very big, and recently, I have to go to the hospital for a checkup. As for the Empress, she had just gotten pregnant, and she appeared to be very careful. Today, my daughter was also wearing a red skirt. While shuttling through the crowd, she was greeting people politely, and she appeared to be very sensible. Just like last time, Brett was hiding in a dark corner. Her red robe didn't give her a festive feeling, and instead, as she drank cup after cup of wine, she appeared to be incomparably miserable. Looking at Brett's current appearance, everyone became anxious in their hearts. I really hope that Zhu Tian can properly console Brett. Brett, who has a fiery temper and stubbornness, isn't someone who can be appeased just by coaxing. Looking at Brett's current appearance, Zhu Tian didn't dare to go up and provoke Brett even more. As for today's head chef, he was the blood demon who was going to bring disaster to the world. It must be said, a blood demon who doesn't have any strength is willing to do anything, and furthermore, he learns everything very quickly. Right now, he is even a head chef in leisure bar, and even Yihua is praising him non-stop. This brat is capable. He isn't capable of bringing disaster to the world, but he is very good at doing other things. However, speaking of which, I should be receiving quite a lot of red packets tonight, right? It is everyone's duty to be filial to their boss. There are also Qingye, Donghuang Baiji, and Ali. All of them have to give out red packets, and red packets are also not a small amount of income. I, the Supreme Overlord, should keep the red packet money so as to prevent myself from using it recklessly. This woman just loves to spend money recklessly, to buy a bag that is worth a few $100,000, she is truly a prodigal. The table that was set up today was that kind of big round table, and it wasn't like the lobster banquet that was set up last time. There were a total of 2 tables, and the television on the bar counter was currently locked onto the Spring Festival Gala, which was about to begin. Chapter 555. It was just that it was a bit comical to let this group of women in gowns run errands and serve dishes. Other than Dongfang Yuer, they all had strength. However, when Dongfang Yuer saw Brett, she was still a little afraid. On the other hand, LV Liang was very happy today. As expected, my blood clan sisters are very powerful, and they are also one of a kind in the entire team. Even big brother Lai Gu revealed out an envious gaze. Today, Zi Shan was the same as well. She, who possessed the temperament of a deity, added a different color to her appearance. Comparatively speaking, Wei Chang, Lai Gu, and Zhu Tian's women were slightly lacking. However, the 3 of them were the capable subordinates of a supreme overlord, and they had an advantage in terms of status. Moreover, absolute heaven's Yu is also a special existence. As for Qingye and Donghuang Baiji, there was no need to talk about them. No matter if it was their temperament, appearance, or status, they were all unique. As the dishes were served one by one, the hall was filled with a fragrant aroma. Chicken, fish, and all kinds of meat were served. Today, Blood Demon was wearing a red robe, and there was even a red scarf tied around his waist. After wiping his hands, Blood Demon said respectfully, "Your Honor, all the dishes have been served." And Yihua nodded his head. The Blood Demon bowed and prepared to retreat. "What are you doing?" Yihua took a look and asked faintly. "Your Honor, I'll just go to the back and eat something." The words of the Blood Demon were simply so pitiful. Yihua said lightly, "No need, sit down together." Blood Demon had a startled look on his face, then immediately became overjoyed. "Does this mean that I have received His Honor's approval?" The excited Blood Demon immediately kneeled onto the ground. "Thank you, Your Honor. If it wasn't for Your Honor, Blood Demon would have already died." After saying that, Blood Devil felt that something was wrong. Pa, what are you talking about during the New Year?" Qing Yutong said in a low voice. This was too inauspicious. Blood Demon immediately had a bad feeling. Your Honor, please forgive me. All right, I don't believe this. Thank you, Your Honor. Blood Demon let out a breath of relief and sat at the table beside Blood Demon. Everyone waited for Yihua's opening speech, and none of them moved their chopsticks. Meanwhile, Yihua picked up his wine glass and stood up. Today is Chinese New Year's Eve, and it isn't easy for everyone to be able to sit together and eat together. The few people from the 7 deadly sins knew what His Honor meant by not easy. That's right, it really wasn't easy to walk all the way here. Tonight, there's no hierarchy. Let's celebrate the new year together. You've worked hard. After Qingye and Dong Baiji, who were sitting beside Yihua, heard what Yihua said, a smile appeared on Qingye and Dong Baiji's faces. When the subordinates heard what His Honor said, they immediately went into a daze. Your Honor, is there really no difference in ranks? Lai Gu asked. From the looks of it, Lai Gu has a bold idea. Yihua said indifferently, I, the Supreme Overlord, will naturally keep my words. They won't punish us. Lai Gu had to ask clearly, if not, he would definitely suffer a loss. Yihua's brows wrinkled. What does this Lai Gu mean? That's right. Lai Gu wiped his hands, then immediately stretched out his hands. What are you planning to do? Yihua asked. Your Honor, red packet. Lai Gu said excitedly. Not only was Lai Gu excited, all of His Honor's subordinates were also waiting for His Honor to give them red packets. Meanwhile, the corner of Yihua's mouth twitched slightly. To actually ask me, the Supreme Overlord, to send red packets to you, your guts are truly getting bigger and bigger. It's one thing that you don't want to give out red envelopes, but you still want me to do it. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have said those words and let them seize the opportunity. Seeing that His Honor's expression immediately sunk, Lai Gu had already stopped what he was doing, and even said that he wouldn't lose his temper. It seems like he was just being polite. I naturally know that you all have worked hard, but I, the Supreme Overlord, have worked even harder. Let me send a red packet first. Yihua said gravely, seemingly as if he was talking about a very serious matter. Ali wants a red packet too. Dong Huangli stood on the stool and shouted out. In the past, I only got 1 red packet, but tonight, I will definitely get a bunch of red packets. I am so happy, New Year is so good. With little His Honor supporting him, Lai Gu immediately stood up, then clapped his hands and shouted out, Your Honor, send red packets. Your Honor, send red packets. Not to mention, Lai Gu was quite good at setting the tempo. Everyone stood up and clapped their hands, then shouted out His Honor to send red packets rhythmically. This caused Yihua to be angered to death. These subordinates are truly crazy, to actually even tease me. Yihua, I want a red packet too also, our son wants a red packet too. Qingye also stretched out her hands. Dong Baiji was unwilling to fall behind, me too, our son wants a red packet too. Daddy, send red packets, Dong Huangli began shouting out. This time, there was finally no one who shouted out along with Ali. Everyone still remembered the lobster feast that time. What else could Yihua do? He could only send red packets. I didn't prepare any red packets either. How about this, I will create a WeChat group and send 100 red packets with 200 RMB each. You all can go ahead and snatch the red packets. Yihua said generously, as if he was going to give out a lot of red packets. However, when everyone heard that His Honor was going to send red packets, they were all very happy. It doesn't matter how many red packets there are, what's important is that the red packets are being sent by His Honor. In this world, how many people are able to receive a red packet from His Honor? Daddy, Ali doesn't have a phone. Ali said pitifully. Daddy will give you a big red packet tonight. Yihua said in a low voice. Hearing what Yihua said, Dong Huangli immediately laughed out. Yihua patted onto Qinya's thigh. The meaning behind his words was very clear. Hurry up and transfer the money to me, I don't have any money. What else could Qinya do? Yihua's pretentious personality will never change. To say such words when you don't have any money, it is so hard to be Yihua's wife. Qinya secretly transferred 20,000 RMB to Yihua's thigh. It really wasn't much at all. Yihua shouted out in his heart, stingy, not giving me any pocket money at all. After creating a WeChat group, Yihua pulled everyone into the group. After that, Yihua could see his subordinates spamming the group with all kinds of emoji packs, and some of them even used my own emoji packs. Damn it, who gave you all the courage? Liang Jingru. Before the meal even started, the red packets were already in full swing. Blood Demon's luck was pretty good, every red packet was worth tens of red packets. At the very least, he managed to snatch a few thousand red packets. Lai Gu, this unlucky fellow, sometimes didn't even manage to snatch a red packet, and he would always complain that his phone's signal was poor. Alright, the red packets have been sent out, let's eat. Yihua shook his head. I gave out another red packet. In the future, I won't say something like this anymore. All of you are not afraid of me anymore, aren't you afraid that I, the Supreme Overlord, will settle the score with you in the future? Right now, the subordinates understood his honor, and they knew that his honor wouldn't take the red packet seriously. While eating the reunion meal and watching the Spring Festival Gala, this was the first time Yihua experienced the feeling of celebrating the new year. I have to continue this tradition. The men competed with each other to drink alcohol. After all, they had agreed not to cheat, and they drank to an earth-shattering level. As a big shot, Yihua was persuaded to drink quite a bit of alcohol. This made Yihua feel that they are truly too arrogant to actually dare to persuade me to drink alcohol. That sentence about the relationship between a superior and a subordinate, I really can't help it. Chapter 556. Meanwhile, the women began playing mahjong. There were more than 2 tables left. Dong Huangli and Yizizi went upstairs to play games. It's still better to not participate in the world of adults. Hey, you guys drink less. Dong Huang Baiji touched herself and shouted towards the men. Lai Gu grinned, Your Honor's wife, when you drink, you have to drink until you talk nonsense, and you have to drink until the entire universe is yours. If you can't do these 2 things, what's the point of drinking? Your Honor, don't you agree? Don't care about that woman, drink. Dong Huang Baiji snorted. I will give you face now, but when we go back, just wait and see how I will take care of you. Your Honor is mighty. Yi Hong immediately shouted out. Look at me, I don't even dare to shout at my wife like this. Zishan's doom gaze instantly arrived, and Yi Hong didn't dare to not say anything. Yihua patted onto Yi Hong's shoulder, Men. Fear of their wives doesn't exist. Yes, 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 Your Honor is right. Yi Hong hurriedly agreed. However, I don't dare to do that, I will be abused by Zishan. Zishan, who was playing mahjong, snorted. It's useless even if Your Honor supports you. Yihua began his long-winded speech, instilling the concept of men being supreme into his subordinates. The Yihua who was drunk was indeed different, he even started to brag. What, I, the Supreme Overlord, what kind of woman am I unable to find? Yihua completely didn't know what Qinya and Dong Huang Baiji's expressions were. When the other women heard what his honor said, they felt so helpless. This is simply teaching my husband the wrong things. In the future, I can't let my husband play with his honor anymore, he will lead me astray. Let's go to the nightclub. Someone shouted out, and the woman who was playing mahjong immediately used doom gaze. Who said that just now? Come out. This is too outrageous. Yi Hong, is it you? Yihua shouted out coldly. Yihua was acting very well. Seeing that there was a scapegoat, Ligu laughed and said, Yihong, I am going to criticize you. Zishan is so good, yet you still want to go to a nightclub. Are you worthy of Zishan? At this moment, LV Liang also said, That's right, although I know that you are very envious that Big Brother has 2 wives, but, don't think about having 2. Yihong felt as if he was struck by lightning. What happened? Why don't I have any recollection of it? My wife's gaze seems a bit off. Yihua paused for a moment. Yihong, you should reflect on yourself. Let us continue drinking. Your honor is mighty, his honor is mighty. His honor is mighty. Tonight, Yihua was indeed floating. There was no helping it, he was truly too happy. At 10 o'clock, the men collapsed on the sofa. This feeling of dizziness was very good. After, Hua finished, they, ye, a, and the night, they, and, ye, and, the Hua, and, Hua. In any case, Dong Huang Baiji wanted to kill Dong Huang Baiji in an open and above-board manner, and those people who were standing at the side would be clapping their hands and cheering for Dong Huang Baiji. This was exactly the feeling that Dong Huang Baiji wanted. This kind of plan wasn't something that could be completed in a short amount of time. Therefore, Yihua wasn't in a hurry. He was going to wait for Dong Huang Baiji to give birth to this child before making any further plans. As they chatted, it was almost midnight. Yihua stood up and said, Ladies, are you still going to fight? Dong Huang Baiji snorted, Aren't the 2 of you going out for a massage? Why aren't you going? Madam, don't blame his honor, men are all like this when they drink. Wei Chang immediately tried to smooth things over. This Madam Dong Huang is someone that everyone had painstakingly helped his honor to bring back. Don't quarrel with each other during the new year, that would be very inauspicious. Right now, Yihua's temper was slightly better. If it was in the past, he would definitely have scolded Yihua. Yihua was really not giving Yihua any face at all. Alright, let's call it a day after this round. Yihua said faintly. It was going to be 12 o'clock soon. However, Yihua neglected the motivation of the women to play mahjong, as they were simply unable to stop playing mahjong. Thus, Yihua decided to just let them do whatever they wanted. After all, New Year's is a happy occasion. Oh, it's going to be 12 o'clock soon. Ali is coming down to receive a red packet. Dong Huangli and Yizizi rushed down from upstairs. Daddy, I smell of alcohol all over my body. I am going to look for mommy to carry me. Yihua was helpless. The smell of alcohol all over my body is really not good to smell at all. Along with the arrival of 12 o'clock, the new year officially began. Little Your Honor, do you want a red packet? Ali wants it. Little Your Honor, I have a red packet here too. Ali wants it too. Looking at his daughter's joyous expression, Yihua felt very comfortable in his heart. Meanwhile, the women finally stopped playing mahjong. As the wives of his honor, Qingye and Dong Huang Baiji naturally had to give out red packets. Towards a custom like this, Yihua had to do as the Romans do. However, what's the difference in giving out red packets here and there? It can only be considered as a good omen. Rip. Qingye suddenly wrinkled her brows and held on to her stomach. Zishan, who was at the side, hurriedly held on to Qingye, and at this moment, Qingye's water suddenly broke. Your Honor! Your wife is going to give birth. Zishan cried out in surprise. Yihua was currently discussing something with Zhu Tian, and hearing Zishan shout, he hurriedly ran over and asked excitedly, What happened? Is she going to give birth? Her water broke. Zishan was also very happy. It has just been Chinese New Year, and I have already welcomed a new life. This is a good sign. Qingye grabbed onto Yihua's sleeve. Yihua, it hurts. Qing Yutong said gravely, quickly carry her upstairs and boil some hot water. You know how to deliver a baby? Yihua asked curiously. I learned it on television. Zishan said tenderly, Your Honor, I know a bit about it. Yihua nodded his head, Hurry up and go then, be careful. Yes. The women walked back and forth in the bedroom, while a group of men waited outside the bedroom. From time to time, Chinya's painful wails could be heard. It has already been half an hour. Why isn't the baby born yet? Yihua was a bit vexed. This was the first time he had encountered something like this, so of course he would be anxious. He was afraid that something bad would happen to Chinya and the baby. Zhu Tian said respectfully, Your Honor, don't be anxious, humans take a bit longer to give birth. Yihua squinted his eyes and continued smoking one cigarette after another. Daddy, don't be anxious, Mommy Qing and little brother will be fine. Dong Huangli pulled onto her father's pants and consoled. Yihua squeezed out a trace of a smile, then rubbed onto his daughter's head. In an instant, it was 3 a.m. in the morning. Chinya's screams did not stop coming from the bedroom at all, and Yihua felt like killing someone just by listening to the screams. A huge amount of spiritual pressure was instantly emitted out, and the spiritual pressure immediately flowed into Chinya's body. With a flash of golden light, Chinya's furrowed brows gradually relaxed. But the golden radiance on Chinya's body was quickly disappearing, and Chinya wrinkled her brows once again. Everyone was shocked. This speed of absorption has already reached a terrifying degree, even his honor's technique is being absorbed. Wei Chang and the others who were standing at the back were in disbelief. Just what kind of child is the little honor in your wife's stomach? This is too terrifying. Yihua was unwilling to give up. Immediately, a golden light condensed on his left hand, while his right hand emitted out green and blue colors that were intersecting with each other. However, Yihua's gaze tensed up, and he actually fused the golden light into the ball of strange colors that was on his right hand. Immediately, 3 different colors emerged from the ball of strange colors, and everyone could immediately feel a ferocious spiritual energy being emitted out from the ball of strange colors. Wei Chang immediately isolated the inside of the room from the outside. Yihua pushed the strange thing in his hand towards Chinya's body. Pooh! 3 different colors covered Chinya's delicate body like a cloud of smoke. Chinya's expression gradually smoothed out, as if she had gotten some relief. However, Wei Chang and the others who were at the back were very surprised. Could it be that his honor is unable to solve the problem? He could only ease the situation. Yihua's gaze was like a torch as he stared fixedly at Chinya who was on the bed and the child in her stomach. How did this happen? The fusion of Nua's bloodline and my bloodline is actually this terrifying. There is actually no way to control it, and the only thing I can do is to slow down the speed of it being absorbed. In this world, there are actually things that I, the Supreme Overlord, am unable to do. This kind of effect was already out of Yihua's control. The fusion of the 2 bloodlines was very terrifying. Fortunately, Donghuang bloodline wasn't so tyrannical that it had to absorb the mother's spiritual energy in order to obtain the inheritance. Not right. There are still a lot of medicinal pellets in my storage ring. Yihua. Chinya who was on the bed shouted out weakly. Her slender hand slowly raised up, and her pair of beautiful eyes looked at the man who was in a panic. This was the first time that Chinya saw Yihua being in such a panic. The corner of Yihua's mouth twitched, seemingly wanting to laugh and properly console Chinya. However, he was unable to laugh at all. It's fine, eat the medicine, it will be fine very soon. Yihua took out the God Essence pill, life-continuing pill, 9 firmaments heaven-nourishing dew, and so on. However, these things could only serve to slow down the speed of it, and were unable to solve the problem. After Chinya obediently ate the medicine, she felt much more comfortable. Yihua, no matter what, you have to protect our child, do you understand? I only have this one request. Right now, Chinya looked very weak. Her pair of beautiful eyes had lost their former color, and even more so, her pair of beautiful eyes were filled with firm pleading. Just now, when Yihua came in, Chinya's face was as white as a piece of paper. Yihua had been baptized by blood for so many years, and he had never been afraid before. Right now, he was really afraid that he would lose Chinya. Yihua looked at Chinya's big belly and remained silent. Right now, I can only protect one, it's either big or small. Looking at her husband's hesitant gaze, Chinya's heart ached. In actuality, she knew what the situation was, but for the sake of the child, Chinya was willing to make a sacrifice. Which mother in this world doesn't love their child? Yihua, I have always been unwilling to listen to you, then let me not listen to you for the last time, all right. Yihua held on to Chinya's hand that had lost its color and said gravely, don't say any more, I will have a way. You are only allowed to listen to me for the rest of your life, I will be in charge of your matters. This little bastard, if he comes out, I will definitely beat him to death. Yihua, that is our child, you can't beat him. Chinya smiled weakly, and the oppressive atmosphere in the room lessened a bit. Suddenly, the colorful mist that was revolving around Chinya was once again absorbed by the little bastard, and the speed at which the little bastard was absorbing the colorful mist was so fast that it left one speechless. Yihua, is there any other way? This can't go on. Donghuang Baiji shouted out anxiously. The little bastard's absorption speed is too fast. This little bastard is too scary. Dong Huangli, who was standing at the side, was crying. She slowly walked to the side of the bed and said lightly, little brother, don't absorb Mommy Qing's mist anymore, if you want to absorb, then absorb big sister's mist. Dong Huangli's words caused the little fellow to slightly calm down, and the little bastard's absorption speed slowed down a bit. Yihua scratched onto his hair, appearing to be very irritated. Your Honor, I have an idea. Zhu Tian suddenly stood out and said. Speak. Zhu Tian said gravely, Your Honor, do you still remember Sovereign Fa Lian? Yihua's gaze became focused as he shouted out, Speak clearly. Chapter 558. Because back then, Paragon Fa Lian was one of the people who organized that battle. In Yihua's heart, he didn't want Paragon Fa Lian to die so easily. However, now that Chinya has encountered such a matter, I have to make a trip over. Yihua took out a scepter from his storage ring. This was the spacetime scepter. As the name suggested, it was a weapon that could control time. Although it wasn't anything good, it was very useful right now. Yihua swung his hand, and the space scepter floated above Chinya's body. Immediately, the scepter emitted a faint blue radiance, which enveloped Chinya within it. Chinya's pained expression stopped. This wasn't relief, it was the scepter that stopped the thing in the bed. However, this pause was not permanent. The spacetime scepter was gradually withering away. It seemed like the spacetime scepter was a weapon that had a life of its own. This was also the reason why Yihua had kept it by his side all this while. As expected, it was still put to use. You all stay here and guard this place properly. If anyone gets close to this place, kill them without mercy. Yihua shouted out coldly. The subordinates immediately bowed and shouted, We will obey His Honor's command. Yihua's figure disappeared from the room. Yihua went to get the things and settle the accounts by himself. The women stopped transferring their spiritual energy to Donghuang Baiji, and Donghuang Baiji asked curiously, Who is this sovereign Fa Lian? Wei Chang heaved a sigh of relief and said in a low voice, He is a person of virtue and prestige, good and evil are decided by him. The people of the 7 deadly sins all knew the situation, but those who didn't were very puzzled. Wouldn't it be too dangerous for Yihua to go alone? Donghuang Baiji asked worriedly. Brett shook his head, No, it's Sovereign Feilane who is too lucky. The few women didn't understand what Brett meant, but Dong Wang Baiji felt that Yi Hua and Sovereign Fa Lin had some sort of relationship. From Brett's words, Yi Hua didn't plan to let Sovereign Fa Lin off, but because of Qing Ya's matter, Yi Hua's plan was spoiled. That was why it was said that Sovereign Fa Lin was lucky, not dying under the disdain of the people of the world. Yuan Tian Peak. This was a world of nothingness, but in this nothingness, there stood a huge mountain. The size of the mountain was astonishing, as if it covered the entire world of nothingness. At the foot of the mountain, one had to zoom in a few hundred times to see a tiny figure. The stream was like a silver thread. If one were to take a closer look, it would be a huge silver waterfall. A person standing beside it would seem very small. There were people on every level of the mountain, but they seemed so insignificant. Even a small stone had millions of lives and countless sections. And at the top of the mountain lived the peak master of the Yuan Tian Peak, Sovereign Fa Lien. This world of nothingness was created by him, and every sovereign had this kind of strength. However, back then, Hong Tai was still a relatively weak sovereign, and did not have the ability to create such a world of nothingness. At the top of the mountain, there were no luxurious palaces or splendid residences. There were only ordinary wooden courtyards surrounded by wooden fences. Although it didn't look fancy, the people who squatted in the toilet at the top of Yuan Tian Peak were still very impressive. On the edge of the cliff at the edge of the mountain, an old man sat among the clouds. In front of him was an ordinary zither, and on his right was a cup of steaming hot tea. This old man was Paragon Fa Lien. His white silver hair hung down naturally, and although his face was wrinkled, he looked very intimidating, and no one dared to look straight at that face. Compared to that face that was filled with wrinkles, Paragon Fa Lien's hands were incomparably delicate, just like a woman's hands. Especially when he was playing the zither, his hands carried traces of charm. The mountain reverberated with the clear and melodious sound of the zither. The sound of the zither was like a gift from the heavens, bringing hope to the people below the mountain. This was Paragon Fa Lien's strength. While playing the zither, he was able to hear the joyful shouts of the people, as well as the whispers of service. Two figures suddenly appeared in front of Paragon Fa Lien, knelt down respectfully, kowtowed, and shouted, "Teacher! Year 2, little fool, did you comprehend any great Tao in this trip to spiritual capital?" Paragon Fa Lien stopped playing the zither and slightly opened his eyes. Immediately, a ray of light shot out from his eyes, and he didn't dare to look at them at all. And this Year 2 and little fool were Paragon Fa Lien's disciples, the newly popularized overlords. What Yi Hua didn't know was that during the 5 years that he disappeared, another batch of newbies had advanced to the ranks of overlords. And this spiritual capital was a place that all of the deities yearned to go to. Heaven's mansion, that kind of place could only be considered as a small place, it couldn't be brought to the stage. Spiritual capital was the place where the deities gathered, that was the highest point of authority, that was the place that countless people yearned to go to. Teacher, disciple has benefited greatly. The Year 2 shouted out respectfully. Paragon Fa Lien naturally disdained that kind of place, it is completely meaningless to go to that kind of place. After reaching this kind of realm, what one should be thinking about is how to go to the next level. Tell teacher about the interesting things that happened in spiritual capital, it has been a long time since I listened to them. Paragon Fa Lien picked up the teacup at the side and lightly blew on it. A delightful fragrance drifted out, and Paragon Fa Lien lightly leaned against the teacup. However, there was nothing behind him. Year 2 and little fool, outside, were 2 saints' titles, but in here, they were just Year 2 and little fool, that's all. Furthermore, the 2 of them looked like middle-aged men, and it was very strange for them to be addressed like this. However, the 2 of them didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction. After all, the person in front of them was their teacher, the powerful Paragon Fa Lien. Look at this origin sky peak, it was completely built by Master alone. Here, Master is a god. Next, Year 2 and Little Fool talked about the things that happened in spiritual capital, the gossip of the royal family, the disputes of various places. Paragon Fa Lien hummed a little tune as he listened to his disciple's story, and the corner of his mouth curled up. Looks like spiritual capital has been peaceful these few years. Everything is peaceful. How is Kanglo continent? Paragon Fa Lien asked indifferently. Little Fool said respectfully, since that battle 5 years ago, Master eliminated the head of evil, Kanglo continent has maintained a peaceful trend, but there are still some small battles. 5 years ago, that is really unforgettable. Paragon Fa Lien chuckled and took a sip of tea. Year 2 said respectfully, Master can deal with evil, that is following the will of the heavens. How can those evil people be Master's match? Year 2, there are laws in all Daos, remember this. Paragon Fa Lien called out. Disciple will remember this. Little Fool suddenly thought of something and said respectfully, Master, disciple recently heard that a branch of this deity was massacred. Oh. There is such a thing. Paragon Fa Lien sat up and put down the teacup in his hand. His expression was a little serious. Year 2 said, Master, this matter has shaken the royal family. Spirit Emperor has sent people to investigate. I believe there will be news soon. Chapter 559. A trace of doubt flashed past Supremacy Fa Lien's eyes. Speaking of extermination, Supremacy Fa Lien thought of that group of evil leaders. That group of evil leaders was their signature. Soon after, he laughed lightly. Since they were all exterminated by us, how could they possibly still be alive? Spirit Emperor is still suspecting if it was done by that group of people back then, Big Two said softly. After all, no one wanted to talk about that world-destroying battle. Many supremacies had fallen. That group of people was simply too powerful. Fortunately, Teacher joined hands with other powerful supremacies and killed all of them, and only then was Kanglo continent safe, returning peace to the world. Hearing what Big Two said, Supremacy Fa Lien was a bit displeased. That group of people was already killed by me. Even if the world is destroyed, they will not be able to return. However, just when Supremacy Fa Lien finished speaking, a black whirlpool appeared not far away. Supremacy Fa Lien and Big Two immediately looked towards the whirlpool and deeply wrinkled their brows. Which supremacy has come to pay a visit? Isn't this too impolite? This is trespassing into a forbidden area. Just when the three of them were feeling puzzled, a terrifying aura spread out from the whirlpool. The terrifying might cause Supremacy Fa Lien's expression to change, and Big Two was even more so suppressed by the might to the point that they couldn't even raise their heads. The eerie killing intent gradually engulfed the entire mountain peak. The sky suddenly darkened, and rumbling sounds could be heard. A foot could be seen stepping out of the whirlpool. Just this foot alone caused Supremacy Fa Lien's expression to change greatly, because this cannot even be considered as a foot. It is a foot that has no flesh and blood. Could it be? Supremacy Fa Lien's expression changed greatly. When Supremacy Fa Lien saw that familiar robe, he looked at that pair of empty eye sockets that were emitting red light in disbelief. Big Two used all their strength to raise their heads and look at the figure that was not far away from them, and when they saw that pair of eye sockets, their minds became completely blank. After all, the two of them did not participate in that battle, but they had also heard about how terrifying that battle was. How tragic it was. Supremacies fell one after another, causing everyone to tremble in fear. After all, those were supremacies, not small fries. To be able to kill powerful supremacies, just what kind of person was that? It was said that the leader of that group was a skeleton that wore a robe. That skeleton was completely inhumane. That skeleton would kill anyone he saw, and in his eyes, human lives were not even worth a single straw. Who was this skeleton in front of him? Didn't Master say that even if the world was destroyed, those people wouldn't come back? What was happening now? Was this skeleton the same as before? Paragon Fa Lien was still very valiant. Under Yihua's savage aura, his expression actually didn't change, which meant that he had quite a lot of treasures on him. Yihua had met too many people on his path of cultivation. Which of the 7 deadly sins wasn't an outsider, and all of them were being chased by humans? How many outsider families were destroyed, and yet, no one took pity on them? Humans beheaded the heads of the outsider and laughed wildly. What is kindness? What is evil? Yihua didn't feel good if he didn't spit it out. These hypocritical paragons are all colluding with each other, and their crimes are monstrous. Paragon Fa Lien, come, let me see just how much you have improved during these few years. Paragon Fa Lien immediately let out an overflowing killing intent, and the surging spiritual pressure engulfed the entire place. Rumbling sounds rang out, and it was as if the end of the world had arrived. I shall let you have a taste of the pain back then. Buddha fire illumination. An enormous image could be seen appearing behind Paragon Fa Lien, and an aura that could shake the heavens pressed down. Yihua looked at the image faintly, not moving at all. The image slowly stretched out its enormous palm towards Yihua, and a golden flame that was like magma sprayed towards Yihua. Yihua's body was instantly devoured by the flame, and the scorching flame dyed the entire origin sky peak red. You shall die the same way you died back then. Paragon Fa Lien snorted coldly. You are merely a so-so. Buddha fire illumination. A sound suddenly rang out from within the flame, causing Paragon Fa Lien to be startled. However, when he saw the enormous image that appeared, Paragon Fa Lien's expression changed greatly. How can this be? How can he know Buddha fire illumination as well? This isn't possible. Furthermore, his Buddha fire illumination is actually black, just like a blackened Buddha. Paragon Fa Lien, you might not know this yet, but I know your ultimate technique as well. Right now, what Paragon Fa Lien was thinking about was, why hasn't he been burned into ashes by Buddha fire illumination? Could it be that my body has already reached such a terrifying level? Sunfall heavenly fire. Yihua shouted out slowly. From the looks of it, he knew that he had done something wrong and was feeling very embarrassed. A loving mother tends to spoil her son. Yihua didn't know why, but he said this sentence. I am willing. Right now, Qinya didn't care about all those things. My son is my life, he is so adorable. Mommy Qing, let me take a look at little brother. Dong Huangli ran over with small steps and stretched out her head to take a look at the little fellow. The little fellow looked very similar to Qinya, his eyes were very big, and his facial features were also very good. When he grows up, he will definitely become a lady killer. Little brother, I am your big sister, do you understand? Dong Huangli said very earnestly, as if she was taking in a little brother. The little fellow looked at his big sister and was very confused. However, his bloodline was telling him that the person in front of him was his family. Thus, he nodded his head. Everyone didn't expect that the little fellow would actually be able to understand. This is simply too mystical. Qinya, this little fellow looks very similar to you. His nose and eyes are simply exactly the same. Dong Huang Baiji laughed. Dong Huang Baiji felt that the little fellow and Ali were very similar. Everyone agreed with Dong Huang Baiji's words. This caused Yihua to feel very displeased. Why does my son not look like me? He clearly looks like me. Although Yihua said this, he knew that the child indeed looks like Qinya. However, the king's aura between the child's brows is exactly the same as him. Seems like the child will also become a ruler in the future. I wonder if Dong Huang Baiji is pregnant with a boy or a girl. I will know in another month or two. Everyone surrounded Qinya and looked at the little fellow who was in Qinya's bosom. At the start, the little fellow was very afraid of strangers, but gradually, he got used to it and knew how to smile. However, when he saw his father, he immediately shut his mouth, then buried his entire face into his mother's bosom. He was scared to death. Right now, there was no mishap. Yihua said gravely, "Where is my son's red packet?" The corners of everyone's mouths twitched. How could they have prepared a red packet? They didn't expect their wife to give birth so quickly. "Your Honor, next time, if there's nothing else, we will take our leave first." "Happy New Year, Your Honor." Lai Gu cupped his hands. Everyone immediately learned from Lai Gu's actions, and after saying that they would give the money to Lai Gu next time, they disappeared. Chapter 561. The corner of Yihua's mouth twitched. "The two of you are truly becoming more and more arrogant. To think that my son is actually not giving red packets." However, right at this moment, the phone in Yihua's pants kept on ringing. Yihua took out his phone and took a look. "At least you guys are tactful, knowing to send red packets." "Yihua, what's the matter?" Qinya carried her son and asked curiously. "Oh, it's nothing much, they are all trash text messages, the kind that involves gambling." Yihua said faintly. "It wasn't easy for me to obtain some private money, so how could I possibly hand it over? Come, let me hug my son." Yihua walked to the front of Qinya and said lightly. Qinya reminded, "Our son didn't do it on purpose, don't hit him. Otherwise, I won't let you off." Dong Huang Baiji, who was at the side, laughed. "Qinya's current state is exactly the same as me back then. My child is my lifeblood." All right, I won't hit you." Qinya carefully placed the child into her husband's embrace. However, the little fellow was grabbing onto his mother's hand tightly, and that expression of his seemed to be saying, "Daddy is going to spank me." However, after Yihua hugged onto him, he shouted out angrily, "Little bastard, I will beat you to death." As he spoke, he slapped his buttocks. The little fellow immediately burst into tears and waved his hands at his mother for help. "Mom, save me." Qinya went into a daze for a moment, then immediately snatched her son over. "Yihua. Papa, brother knows he's wrong. Don't hit him anymore. He's so pitiful." Dong Huangli was also pleading for her little brother. The little fellow was currently in his mother's embrace, and he didn't even dare to look at his father. His little body was shivering in fear, and there was even a handprint on his little butt. In actuality, how could Yihua possibly hit him hard? He was just smacking him to teach him a lesson. The situation just now was too dangerous, and he nearly made a huge mistake. If he didn't teach him a lesson, he wouldn't be able to live. Qinya hugged onto her son and coaxed, "Don't cry, with Mom here, Dad won't be able to bully you in the future." The little fellow was still wailing loudly and was completely unable to stop. What else could Qinya do? Yihua was only acting like this because he was worried about me. He should be hungry. Dong Huang Baiji said. Dong Huang Baiji had some experience with this. Qinya thought to herself, "Yihua, you can go out first." "Why would I want to go out?" Yihua was confused. "Haven't I inhaled before?" "That's embarrassing, we're already an old married couple." Dong Huangli was still a lot more sensible. Dong Huangli pulled onto her father's hand and said, "Mommy Qing is going to feed little brother milk. Ali used to be like this too, we can't watch." Being persuaded by his daughter like this, Yihua felt very flabbergasted, and he could only carry his daughter and leave for a while. "Daddy, what is little brother's name?" Dong Huangli asked curiously while hugging onto her father. In actuality, he had already discussed with Qinya about the name of the name. "My younger brother's name is Yi Yan." Yihua said lightly. "Three fires. Fire, fire, fire." Dong Huangli muttered a few words, "Sounds good. Ali, you have to take good care of your brother in the future, okay? You're my big sister now." Dong Huangli nodded her head and said earnestly, Daddy, you can be at ease. Ollie will definitely take good care of little brother, and won't let others bully little brother. Ollie still has to bring little brother out to play. Ollie is still sensible. She is Papa's little cotton-padded jacket. Yihua was very gratified to have a daughter like Ollie, who is obedient and sensible. That brat caused such a huge commotion when he was born, and even I, the Supreme Overlord, am unable to do anything to him. Dong Huangli smiled happily. My position in my father's heart is unshakable. After all, Ollie is my father's first child, and furthermore, she is the most obedient and sensible child. That should be enough, let's go in. And I want to play with little brother. Yihua laughed, your little brother doesn't even know how to walk yet. It's fine, Ollie will teach little brother how to play with mud. On the morning of the first day of Chinese New Year, people woke up very early to eat. After that, they would wait to go out and pay their New Year's greetings, visit their relatives, and so on. The children who received their New Year's money were already impatient to go out and play. There were also a lot of people selling beef skewers and mutton skewers on the streets. In a city like Gaohai City, it was not allowed to set up stalls on the streets. However, most of the people had already gone back home to celebrate the New Year, and Gaohai City seemed a bit desolate. However, in one of the villas, Sky Raising Guild's members were having a pretty good New Year. When they woke up in the morning, Sky Raising Guild was even giving out all kinds of red envelopes, asking for good luck. Feng Tian and Feng Di didn't believe in the New Year. For example, Wang Debao and Bai Cixin also gave out red packets for good luck. After all, in the New Year, they had to work hard. They had to take back everything that they had lost in the past. Brother Qing, did you discover anything? Didn't you say that it would appear during the New Year this year? Wang Debao asked while eating Kong Shifu instant noodles. In actuality, everyone was eating instant noodles. On the first day of Chinese New Year, a lot of shops would be closed. Even Sky Raising Guild was eating Lao Ten pickled vegetable instant noodles, and Feng Tian and Feng Di were the same as well. What a frugal guild. Instant noodles were enough. Sky Raising Guild's eyes slightly narrowed. Last night, there was indeed a very strong spiritual pressure. However, it was only for an instant, and it disappeared very quickly. I can only confirm that it came from the south. How strong is it? Feng Tian asked curiously. Sky Raising Guild drank a mouthful of soup, then let out a breath. It can kill you with a single slap, so don't think about it anymore. We are unable to move. Everyone, kill Feng Tian with a single slap. Why doesn't Feng Tian believe it? He really wants to try and see if he can kill Feng Tian with a single slap. Sky Raising Guild said softly, Feng Tian, don't think about it anymore. You will really be killed with a single slap. Trust me, I won't lie to you. Feng Tian wasn't convinced. He shouted in a deep voice, there's still a secret weapon. This so-called secret weapon was another personality. Sky Raising Guild knew about it, so he said calmly, I know your secret weapon, so I will give you another slap. Actually, it will still be one slap. I'm sorry, I was just comforting you. Everyone, Sky Raising Guild picked up the instant noodles and drank the soup again. It felt great, then he put it down gently, as if he was afraid that the paper box would break. Actually, everyone, don't worry. Let's just ignore this kind of boss for the time being. Let's find a weaker one first and split the loot. Sky Raising Guild had been playing The Legend of Mir private server with Wang Debao recently. Everything was related to loot. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Let's let him be arrogant for a while, and when the people in the cultivation world can't do anything about it, we will save him. Then, we will have the loot and reputation. Isn't that great? Sky Raising Guild added. Everyone nodded. Reputation was what Bai Cixin wanted, and it was more attractive than loot. Suddenly, sky-raising guild was stunned. The north has appeared, and they are quite strong. We can deal with them. In the snowy mountains in the north, a man looked at his hands and slowly closed his eyes. He murmured, I never thought that I, Xiao Yi, would be reborn again. And I have become an immortal venerable. The time for revenge is here. Chapter 562. At this moment, Xiao Yi's silvery hair hung down to his waist. He was wearing a white robe, looking like an immortal. Powerful spiritual energy hovered around him. Previously, Xiao Yi wasn't even an immortal sovereign, but after his rebirth, he had become an immortal venerable. His strength had increased by tens of times. Xiao Yi's powerful strength gave him incomparable confidence. He felt that he could even fight against Qinya and Black Robe. A black longsword suddenly appeared in Xiao Yi's hand. The sword's body emitted black starlight. If one looked closely, they would find that it was exactly the same as the Xianyuan sword, only the color was different. Old friend. I'm very happy to see you. Xiao Yi's expression was calm and reserved, completely different from before. The black Xianyuan sword in his hand vibrated slightly. It seemed to be very excited and wanted to start a massacre. Don't worry, if there is a debt, we will get it back. Xiao Yi's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was now a terrifying immortal venerable, whoever dared to defy him would be killed. Black Robe. This immortal supremacy still remembers the debt of forcing my beloved wife to her death. Qinya. This debt of forcing me to die, this immortal supremacy still remembers. And that man. The main culprit. This immortal supremacy will take them back one by one. In a flash, Xiao Yi disappeared and reappeared in his home. His daughters had just been born and he had just taken a look at them. Now that he had been reborn, he would definitely let them live a good life. He would also let them become objects of respect. Shu Nan. Yuqi. Yun Xiao Yi shouted with joy in his heart. However, the spacious villa seemed deserted. The table was covered with a layer of dust, as if no one had lived there for a long time. This caused Xiao Yi's expression to sink. He quickly rushed upstairs and opened every bedroom, but there was no one. Xiao Yi's face was very ugly. Thick veins popped out of his skin. Where are they? Where is he? My woman. My child. It must be Qinya. It must be Qinya who killed all of them. At that time, Qinya even said that she would spare their lives. I didn't expect that after I died, Qinya basically didn't let my family off. He couldn't find his children's aura at all. There was only one conclusion. His 2 children were dead. Shu Nan and the others were killed by Qinya. Qinya, you are so vicious. Voidless stage. This immortal sovereign wants you to pay with blood. After reincarnating, Xiao Yi had completely lost his rationality. He thought that Qinya had killed his woman and child. Your woman and child are all on the blue blaze star, how could you sense them? Because of this, Xiao Yi underwent a crazy change. The death of his wife and son caused Xiao Yi to lose all hope. It was as if he had to kill everyone in the world to get rid of this resentment. Xianyuan's sword once again appeared in Xiao Yi's hand, because Xiao Yi had decided to massacre Voidless Realm and take revenge for his wife and son. However, this was just the beginning. However, Xiao Yi suddenly discovered one thing. Where is Voidless Realm? He had no idea at all. Xiao Yi floated in the sky of the north once again, and with a sinister and scary look on his face, he said, Voidless Realm. This immortal Empyrean will kill until you all come out. After saying that, he swooped down. Below him were some small clans in the north. They were celebrating the first day of the new year. Children were building snowmen outside, playing merrily. However, within a few minutes, the happy house had turned into a living hell. Corpses were strewn all over the ground, and the white snowman was stained with the blood of the children. The children who had been laughing happily just a moment ago had fallen beside the snowman, and their eyes were filled with confusion. Why did that uncle want to kill me? Why did he want to kill my father, mother, grandpa, grandma, big brother, big sister? Why did this happen? Xiao Yi looked at everything in front of him coldly. There was no why. Because this immortal Empyrean just wanted to kill. I want to use endless slaughter to take revenge for my wife and son. Cruel slaughters were being carried out on the first day of the new year. On average, a small family was being exterminated every hour, and the methods used to kill people were simply inhumane. However, some of the scenes were taken by people who were about to die and uploaded to the Cultivation Worlds forum. The video had the intention of warning everyone to be careful of this Xiao Yi. He had already gone crazy. Such a video immediately swept through the entire cultivation world. Xiao Yi, who had disappeared for a few months, actually appeared again. Furthermore, this time, he actually massacred some small families. He was extremely hateful. Everyone prayed to Voidless Realm to come out and kill this Xiao Yi. This Xiao Yi is simply a scum. Right now, Sky Holding Realm's team was watching the video of Xiao Yi killing people. What is going on with this Xiao Yi? Why is he randomly killing people? Wang Debao was puzzled. Initially, he thought that Xiao Yi's family must have met with some kind of mishap when they disappeared. However, this Xiao Yi suddenly appeared again, and furthermore, he started killing people without any restraint. Sky Holding Realm laughed lightly. Xiao Yi is the target this time. The four people at the side were startled, and Feng Tian said faintly, "This Xiao Yi is the person who reincarnated this time." Sky Holding Realm nodded his head. Bai Zixin said confusedly, "Then, does that mean that Xiao Yi was killed at the start?" Feng Tian snorted coldly, "Who cares if he was killed or not? That black weapon in his hand is not bad, I want it." "Don't worry, the more powerful the person who reincarnated, the more treasures they would have on them." Sky Holding Realm said faintly. "Big Brother Qing, then, when are we going to make a move?" Wang Debao asked curiously. Sky Holding Realm laughed lightly. "Let him continue killing for a while first, if not, where would the hatred come from? Our appearance wouldn't be that shocking." This was precisely the effect that Bai Zixin needed, while Feng Tian didn't need it. Thus, Bai Zixin appeared very impatient and turned around to go upstairs. On the other side, Yihua's family of 5 returned to Voidless Realm. After all, Voidless Realm's spiritual energy was rich, and the spiritual energy in Voidless Realm was beneficial to children. Qinya hugged onto her son, and a motherly radiance could be seen on the corner of her mouth. In Qinya's eyes, right now, there was only her son, and Yihua was no longer in her eyes. Dong Huangli stood at the side and played with her little brother. Dong Huangli was very happy. "I really hope that my little brother can grow up quickly." Yihua and Dong Huang Baiji stood at the side. Yihua felt very helpless as he asked, "Baiji, were you like this back then as well?" Dong Huang Baiji snuggled into her husband's embrace. "That's right, I was like this when Ollie was born. However, in order to keep it a secret, I didn't protect her every day like Qinya. I truly let our daughter down. Why didn't you come and look for me?" Yihua said faintly. Dong Huang Baiji punched onto Yihua's chest with her small fist. "You heartless man, you didn't even want to see me. At that time, I hated you to death, and I even decided to never see you again. Your Majesty's temper isn't small, just that, I never would have thought that you would fall into my hands again, and right now, you are even pregnant with a second child." Yihua couldn't help but tease Dong Huang Baiji. "I feel that my current life isn't bad." Dong Huang Baiji said coquettishly, "Bad man, haha." Yihua laughed heartily. "I like the way the Empress is acting." Chapter 563. Dong Huang Baiji pinched onto Yihua's waist and acted coquettishly. Yihua lightly caressed his beloved wife's hair. In this world, only the two of you would dare to pinch me like this. We are your wives. If you don't give us a massage, are you going to give other women a massage? Dong Huang Baiji said proudly. Right now, she wasn't even afraid of Yihua anymore. It was better not to talk about such topics as they were very jealous. Report. A guard suddenly rushed in. When he saw his empress nestled in the man's embrace, he was instantly shocked, and hurriedly squatted down and lowered his head. Dong Huang Baiji's expression sunk as she left Yihua's embrace. What are you making a fuss about? Please forgive me, Your Majesty. The guard said while trembling with fear. Speak. What is it? The guard said in a low voice, Your Majesty, just a few hours ago, there was a massacre in the north. A few small families were brutally exterminated. Qingye looked towards Yihua, seemingly asking, Aren't you the one watching over that group of people? Why did he suddenly come to the north to kill people? Yihua was also very puzzled. If something were to really happen, Brett would definitely come and inform me. Who? Yihua asked faintly. It's Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi. Yihua and Dong Huang Baiji clearly went into a daze for a moment, then looked towards Qingye who was not far away. Didn't Xiao Yi get killed by Qingye? Why did Xiao Yi appear again? Qingye had obviously heard it as well, and she was confused. That night, I had clearly already killed him. I saw it with my own eyes, and he had already turned into ashes. How could he still be alive? While carrying her son, Qingye walked over and asked gravely, Are you sure it's Xiao Yi? The guard nodded. You can leave first. Yihua said faintly. The guard didn't dare to say anything and retreated first. Yihua didn't doubt that Qingye released Xiao Yi, he was just curious about how Xiao Yi managed to survive. However, when he thought about the 5-year cycle, could it be that it started with Xiao Yi? Rebirth? The three of them looked at the video on the forum and confirmed that it was Xiao Yi. This Xiao Yi really has the essence of a cockroach. Yihua said indifferently. Compared to Xiao Yi, Yihua liked that blood demon more. Look at other people. In the past, all of them wanted to bring calamity to the common people. After being screwed twice in a row, he kept a low profile and obediently worked at the bar. As for Xiao Yi, he had probably been screwed several times already, but he still didn't know how to repent. He was simply hopeless. Couldn't he just live an honest life? Look at the Supreme Overlord. Despite possessing such great power, the Supreme Overlord never flaunts it, nor does he bully the weak. It shouldn't be too much for him to receive the Good Citizen Award, right? I'll deal with it again. Qingye said coldly. Although she didn't know how Xiao Yi was still alive, seeing so many people die at his hands, Qingye felt that it was her responsibility to not completely eradicate Xiao Yi. Yihua didn't want Qingye to take action again. A person like Qingye wasn't worth it. Moreover, just now, Brett had also sent over news that the target of that group of people was also Xiao Yi. Sooner or later, they would have to take action against Xiao Yi. Qingye, take good care of your child. Leave this matter to me. Yihua said faintly, then looked towards his son who was in Qingye's embrace. When Yi Yan saw his father's expression, he once again buried his face into his mother's embrace, not daring to look at his father. So fierce, Qingye felt that she had lost face in front of her husband. I didn't even kill all the people that I killed, and I felt a bit guilty. Dong Huang Baiji didn't say anything, she just listened to her husband's orders. However, the entire northern side was in chaos. Xiao Yi killed anyone he saw, killing gods he saw. He was just terrifying. It has already been more than 10 hours, yet there was still no reaction from Voidless Realm. This caused Yi Hua to be even more flustered. This was similar to the incident in the south last year, and Xiao Yi was even more vicious than that group of people. More than 10 families had been killed, and even newborn babies were not spared. This was a crime worthy of divine retribution. At this time, the Cultivation World's forum was exploding. Why hasn't anyone come to save the North? We're about to be killed by Xiao Yi. Back then, our Empress went to save the South. Now that the North is in trouble, is the South just going to watch? Big brother, it's useless even if you ask us to go. He's the act tough Wang Xiao. The big shots on our side haven't responded yet. This act tough King Xiao is too arrogant. We have to defeat him together. Who wants to form a team? Have a safe journey. Sorry for bothering you. Just when everyone was in a state of panic, a new avatar suddenly appeared. What a cool name. Justice Alliance. Furthermore, a thread was made. Dear brothers and sisters, after knowing that you are in danger, we were very worried. Therefore, we have decided to lead our members to punish evil and bring peace back to the North. The time will be 10 p.m. tonight. Brothers and sisters who have just gotten off work can come and watch the battle. Qing Tian was very satisfied. This way, I will be able to display the positive energy of my team. Wang Debao and Bai Cixin sat at the side and quietly waited for the reply. Half an hour later, there was finally a reply. I am 8 years old this year, can I join your alliance? Qing Tian and the others. After waiting for such a long time, there was actually such a comment, and the comment was even pushed down by other threads. Simply shameless. Big brother Qing, this method of yours won't work. Wang Debao shook his head. Not receiving any attention at all, the moderator doesn't even know how to add a gem. Qing Tian let out a light sigh, I was too careless. However, it doesn't matter, when we appear on time tonight, they will definitely be shocked. Bai Cixin nodded her head and said, that's right, they don't care about us right now. When we become famous, there will naturally be a lot of people commenting on us. After that, we will be able to recruit a lot of powerful experts. Voidless Realm, if Ying family can claim to be a big shot, we can do it too. Qing Tian's eyes flickered with a strange color. Is the conspiracy behind this twisted human nature or moral degeneration? Bai Cixin had a fanatical look on her face, as if she had already been brainwashed by Qing Tian. Wang Debao, who was sitting at the side, had a worried look on his wife's face. This Qing Tian was just like the head of CX, bewitching everyone, pulling out everyone's desires, and then controlling them. What a formidable control technique. Right now, it was already 8 p.m. Xiao Yi was sitting at a food street, eating mala soup, and his eyes were looking at the note. There were a lot of families' names written on the note, and there were already more than 10 families whose names were marked with red bars. Just that, I didn't expect that after I killed so many people, no one from Voidless Realm actually appeared. This is truly cold-blooded. Not coming out, I don't believe it. If I, Venerable Immortal Xiao, slaughter Voidless Realm, I won't be able to eat for the rest of my life. Boss, your food is here. A bowl of fragrant braised meat rice was served in front of Xiao Yi. Where's the egg? Xiao Yi said gravely. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it just now, I will add the egg for you now. You don't have any professionalism at all, I clearly asked you to add the egg just now. Chapter 564. While eating the fragrant braised meat rice, Xiao Yi looked at the name written on the paper. Next one, it's the Qin family. The family head, Qin Xuanzong, a dark horse from the north. Currently, Qin Xuanzong was enjoying his dinner at home. There was only one person eating at the 8 meters long dining table. Qin Xuanzong didn't have a girlfriend. Although there were many women chasing after him, Chen Xuanzong only had Qingya in his heart. Chen Xuanzong's family members had all passed away. Therefore, he was the only one left in the Chen family. Currently, Chen Xuanzong was holding a tablet and watching a video. A trace of blood could be seen at the corner of his mouth. This Xiao Yi finally came out. I was just worried that I couldn't find him. God bless my Chen family. Let me kill this Xiao Yi with my spear. Chen Xuanzong cut a piece of steak and stuffed it into his mouth. Blood could be seen at the corner of his mouth. At first glance, the steak was only half done, and there was still blood in it. The other servants were also shocked to see their boss eating like this, but it was just for a while, as if they were used to it. When Chen Xuanzong finished his delicious steak and was about to eat with a piece of tissue, a huge aura appeared. Chen Xuanzong's face tightened. With a bang, the door was thrown open and the expensive furniture was smashed into pieces. Xiao Yi walked in slowly. When Chen Xuanzong saw that it was Xiao Yi, his eyes shone with passion. There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. There's no door to hell, but you insist on barging in. Save me the trouble of finding you. Chen Xuanzong, if you kill yourself, I'll let you die in one piece. Xiao Yi shouted coldly with the black Xianyuan sword in his hand. Chen Xuanzong laughed. Xiao Yi, you still like to act tough. Hee, I didn't get my title of Act Tough King for nothing. Xiao Yi said disdainfully. A small family head dares to act tough in front of me. Chen Xuanzong stood up and emitted killing intent. Since you're here, it's for the best. I'll settle old and new scores together. Do we still have old scores? I really don't remember. Xiao Yi said calmly. He had too much blood on his hands. He couldn't remember all of them. Chen Xuanzong's face turned cold. He shouted coldly, you killed dozens of my family members, and you still don't remember. Chen family. I'm sorry, I really don't remember. Maybe you can give me more details. Have you forgotten that you killed my entire family for the Xianyuan sword? This time, Xiao Yi finally remembered and laughed. You are the child that was left alone. Who would have thought that this would be fate? Killing you today can be considered as truly destroying your Chen clan. Kill me. Xiao Yi, do you really think I'm that easy to kill? Next year, today will be the anniversary of your death. No one will go and mend the grass on your grave. Xiao Yi was helpless and patted the dust off his sleeves. Don't worry, the grass on your grave won't be too short. Chen Xuanzong said faintly, let's go out and fight. Sure. Xiao Yi readily agreed. The two of them came to a nearby bamboo forest. The temperature in the north was extremely low, especially at night. The cold wind howled, and it was bone-chilling. Right now, it was probably a few degrees below zero. Rustling sounds could be heard from the bamboo forest. Fallen leaves fell down, as if hinting at some kind of message. Xiao Yi and Chen Xuanzong stood opposite each other. This was a fated battle. Chen Xuanzong, the Devil Emperor, had come back to this world to take revenge. Moreover, he had been looking for a chance to kill Xiao Yi. Now, the time had come. Killing Xiao Yi would make him more famous. Immortal Emperor versus Devil Emperor. However, Xiao Yi was probably not an immortal emperor anymore. He had already ascended to the immortal reverent realm. However, Chen Xuanzong, the Devil Emperor, was not someone to be trifled with. A spear appeared in Chen Xuanzong's hand. When the spear appeared, a horrifying aura exploded. The surrounding bamboos were all vaporized, and an empty space was formed. The entire spear shone with golden radiance. The sharp spearhead shone with a lethal aura. Complicated patterns were engraved on the spear's body, flickering slightly. 6 shadowy moon. Chen Xuanzong shouted and pointed the spear at the sky. A clump of golden radiance appeared in the pitch-black sky. In an instant, it descended with a violent aura, just like a tornado. The spear had absorbed the might of the sky and became even more dazzling. The violent aura roared in all directions, and the rumbling sound pierced through the heavens and earth. Xiao Yi frowned. You actually have an ancient godly artifact. That's right. The sixth shadowy moon in Qin Xuanzong's hand was an ancient godly artifact. It was a weapon that came from a devil emperor. Qin Xuanzong could be considered to be a patient person. He actually didn't reveal the ancient godly artifact in his hand. If he did, he might also be one of the aristocratic families. Qin Xuanzong came back for revenge. Moreover, he didn't want Xiao Yi to die so easily. Of course, it was also for Qinya. Consolidating his own strength was just to live a good life with Qinya. He didn't want to fight for anything. That's right. My sixth shadowy moon is an ancient godly artifact, Xiao Yi. Tonight will be the day you die. Having an ancient godly artifact was a form of reliance. One should know that even a big shot like the Ying family didn't have an ancient godly artifact. They only had a lot of ancient godly items. Ha ha ha. Xiao Yi suddenly laughed. Then, he swung the Xianyuan sword in his hand. If it was in the past, I might be a little afraid. However, my Xianyuan sword has already surpassed the level of an ancient godly item. It has reached the level of an ancient godly item. After he finished speaking, the Xianyuan sword in Xiao Yi's hand trembled. A half-moon black sword aura with killing intent attacked Qin Xuanzong. He really started fighting without saying anything. Qin Xuanzong snorted lightly. The sixth shadowy moon in his hand stabbed forward. Instantly, golden radiance shone brightly. The two clashed. The color of the world changed. The surface of the earth cracked, forming a bottomless ravine. Gusts of astral wind swept through the surroundings. This was the power of an ancient godly artifact. When the two clashed, even the color of the world changed. The radiance emitted from the collision illuminated the entire world. The result of this clash was 50-50. It was a tie. Not bad. Xiao Yi said indifferently. I didn't expect your Xianyuan sword to evolve. Consider yourself lucky. The sixth shadowy moon in Qin Xuanzong's hand wasn't any weaker than Xiao Yi's Xianyuan sword. Sometimes, luck is also a kind of strength. Just like how your luck wasn't that good, and your entire clan was annihilated by me. These words stabbed into Qin Xuanzong's sore spot. His expression suddenly changed. The sixth shadowy moon in his hand seemed to have sensed its master's anger. Scarlet flame twilight cloud. Qin Xuanzong waved the ancient godly artifact in his hand. In an instant, he stabbed forward 100 times. Rays of bright golden radiance flowed out. Those 100+ spears seemed to be drawing something. A golden figure appeared. It looked like fire and clouds at the same time. It was impossible to tell if it was real or fake. However, this was something released by an ancient godly artifact. How could it be weak? The golden figure was also holding a spear in his hand. It emitted an astonishing aura. As expected of an ancient godly artifact. Chapter 565. Right now, Qin Xuanzong had the advantage in numbers. This was the unique skill of the 6 shadow moons. It was as if Qin Xuanzong was in possession of an ancient godly artifact. Moreover, it was an ancient godly artifact that could move. Xiao Yi was a little shocked. If it was the past him, he wouldn't be able to defeat his opponent. But now, he was an immortal venerable. How could he be afraid of this? Heaven punishment sword art, Brahma's mandate. Xianyuan sword soared into the sky. Xiao Yi roared furiously. Whoosh! Whoosh! 9 Xianyuan swords actually appeared in the sky. Each Xianyuan sword was condensing a terrifying spiritual qi, which spread in all directions. Chen Xuanzong didn't dare to be careless. He pointed the 6 moons at the sword array and shouted, "Star Luo chant." A dazzling light shot out from the spearhead. A dragon roar resounded between the heavens and earth. It actually turned into a golden dragon in the sky. A monstrous pressure was condensing. The golden dragon opened its mouth, and a golden flame instantly shot towards the 9 Xianyuan swords. The golden silhouette beside him rushed towards Xiao Yi, which surprised Xiao Yi. 2 against 1 was indeed advantageous. Xiao Yi's speed was extremely fast. He instantly dodged the golden silhouette's attack and quickly made a hand seal, fall. The 9 Xianyuan swords immediately shot out 9 rays of black light and collided with the golden flame spat out by the dragon. Boom! Boom! The dark night was as bright as day. Huge waves of air spread out like a cutting machine. The golden dragon disappeared, and the Xianyuan sword fell into Xiao Yi's hand. The collision of this move was also evenly matched, which meant that the collision of ancient divine weapons was also ineffective. However, Xiao Yi was a little annoyed. The golden silhouette kept chasing after him. He couldn't even kill it because it was an energy body. Even if he cut off its hand, it would immediately regrow and continue to chase after him. Only now did Xiao Yi realize that the ancient divine tool was undying. He could only kill Chen Xuanzong first. Then, everything would be over. He couldn't gain any advantage in the collision of ancient divine tools. Therefore, he could only rely on his own strength. Xiao Yi was smart for once. Chen Xuanzong was only a devil sovereign. His overall strength was weaker than an immortal venerable. If Xiao Yi was still an immortal sovereign, it was still unknown who would win. Chen Xuanzong immediately became passive. He felt that Xiao Yi's speed was too fast. If it wasn't for the golden man restraining him, he would have been defeated. Chen Xuanzong. What's wrong? What are you hiding for? Xiao Yi shouted coldly with an insolent aura. The more he fought, the more smoothly he got. Xiao Yi. You win. Chen Xuanzong was well aware that he couldn't gain the upper hand in terms of weapons. Even in terms of movement techniques, his opponent was much stronger. It was only a matter of time before he lost. Furthermore, there was a time limit for the Golden Man. If Xiao Yi lost the restraint of the Golden Man, he would soon be killed by him. That's not a very good message. Xiao Yi smiled and said, Chen Xuanzong, don't you want to take revenge? What are you running for? Fight me to the death. Xiao Yi. Just you wait. One day, I will kill you. Chen Xuanzong began fleeing at full speed. Because the golden figure was about to disappear. However, how could Xiao Yi let Chen Xuanzong escape? The Xianyuan sword in his hand instantly blocked Chen Xuanzong's path of retreat. At the same time, he shook off the attacking golden figure. Then, he charged towards Chen Xuanzong. Chen Xuanzong cursed in his heart. How did Xiao Yi's strength change so much? He didn't have such strength in the past. Seems like I was too careless. I should have killed him earlier. Suddenly, Xiao Yi felt the aura behind him disappear. Then, he smiled and said, Chen Xuanzong, without the Golden Man, let's see how long you can last. Chen Xuanzong stared at Xiao Yi. I can't run anymore. I can only fight with my life. Xiao Yi, if you are capable, let's fight 3 years later. Xiao Yi was amused. 3 years later. You read too many novels, right? I will take your life in 3 seconds. You. Chen Xuanzong felt helpless. The difference in strength was his weakness. If Xiao Yi didn't have an ancient divine weapon, he could still kill him even if he had the strength. Unfortunately, Xiao Yi had an ancient divine weapon and great strength. Qin Xuanzong felt that he could only fight with his life. Seeing Qin Xuanzong's action, Xiao Yi sneered. He really came to die. That spear is really good. However, just when Xiao Yi was about to attack, 5 people suddenly appeared. This situation made Xiao Yi and Qin Xuanzong a bit dazed. That's right, the people who came were the Justice and Order Alliance. It was exactly 10 p.m., no more and no less. Wang Debao was holding a selfie stick and a phone, facing the scene. The Cultivation World's live broadcast was online. Hello everyone, we are the Justice and Order Alliance. The one standing in front of us is the tough king, Xiao Yi, and the one over there, seems to be Comrade Qin Xuanzong. Looking at the scene, he should have gone through a big battle. It's already a miracle that he is still alive. Qin Xuanzong, Wang Debao said again, we are the Justice and Order Alliance. Please follow our WeChat account. We welcome like-minded brothers to join our ranks and make the world more beautiful. Those who are close to us can come and take a look at the scene. After that, Wang Debao ended the live broadcast. It was just an advertisement, it wasn't necessary to keep the live broadcast going. Xiao Yi slowly turned around and looked at the group of people he knew. What are you guys doing here? Xiao Yi questioned. Qin Xuanzong, who was at the side, was startled. These people know me. Doesn't that mean I'm dead for sure? Am I so unlucky? Qing Tiandi took a step forward and spread out his hands. Xiao Yi, you should know what we are going to do. You should know. You want to kill me. Xiao Yi's face turned cold, and a violent aura suddenly appeared. This shocked Qin Xuanzong. It seems that Xiao Yi didn't use his true strength just now. It seems that he was just playing with me. Damn it. Qing Tiandi sighed and said indifferently, Xiao Yi, we didn't expect you to be the first person to reincarnate. Maybe this is the will of the heavens. Our former comrade has become like this. Xiao Yi laughed, Qing Tiandi, I might have been afraid of you in the past. But now, I'm not afraid of you. Xiao Yi's aura rose again, and the whole ground started to tremble. Cracks even appeared on the ground. The air was like boiling water, and the temperature was rising rapidly. Qin Xuanzong, who was at the side, finally knew the true strength of this tough king. If I didn't have an ancient godly artifact, I might not even be able to resist him for half a minute. Why is he so strong? Qing Tiandi smiled and took a step back. Behind him, Feng Tian walked out and stretched his neck. Chapter 566. However, Xiao Yi had never seen this pair of weird-looking gloves before. Feng Tian was just messing around when he slaughtered the Tang family that night. He still kept his trump card. Sensing the terrifying aura coming from the gloves, Xiao Yi's expression turned gloomy. He felt that this wasn't an ancient godly artifact. What is it? Could there be something even more powerful than this ancient godly artifact? Xiao Yi, kill yourself now, and I'll leave your corpse intact. Feng Tian shouted coldly. With half of his mask on, he looked extremely ferocious and mysterious. Unexpectedly, his words made Qin Xuanzong laugh, ha ha ha. Xiao Yi, you didn't expect this, right? This is a slap to your face, right? Ha ha ha. Shut up. Xiao Yi's Xianyuan sword instantly slashed towards the laughing Qin Xuanzong. Qing Tian muttered. Feng Tian seemed to resist, but he still disappeared on the spot. Just as Qin Xuanzong was about to block the incoming sword qi, he felt like he fell into a warm embrace. The scene froze at this moment. Wang Debao took out his phone and took a picture. Then, he uploaded it to the Cultivation World's forum. Title: Justice Alliance saves Chen Xuanzong. The previous picture was still attached below. It seemed very lively. In addition to Chen Xuanzong's panicked expression and Feng Tian's condescending attitude, it seemed very gay. Feng Tian leaned down slightly and hugged Chen Xuanzong with his right hand. Chen Xuanzong was half lying in Feng Tian's embrace. The two of them were looking at each other. At this moment, the background music should be played again to confirm the look in each other's eyes. Chen Xuanzong looked at the golden red eyes and the mask, and he seemed a little panicked. What the hell is this? You were saved. Feng Tian endured the pain in his heart and said such a sentence. Wang Debao accepted this sentence very well and then sent it to the forum. What a touching sentence. I was saved. Can't I accept it? Are you shameless? Feng Tian felt like he was going to vomit. He shouted towards Qing Tian, is that enough? Qing Tian was looking at the replies on the forum and felt that it was enough. All right, let's get down to business. Feng Tian's hand suddenly loosened, and Chen Xuanzong was thrown onto the ground. Are you sick? Feng Tian slowly turned around. His eyes emitted a bone-chilling killing intent. Chen Xuanzong immediately shut his mouth. This man is even more terrifying than Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi. Today, I will execute you in the name of justice. Feng Tian spoke according to his script, and Wang Debao's task was to record this battle. Of course, he still had to edit out the parts that needed to be edited out. Xiao Yi didn't say anything. A vast spirit energy gathered in the clouds. Today, I'll let you see my true strength. Suddenly, the spiritual energy in the clouds descended and covered Xiao Yi. The terrifying spiritual energy was like a raging wave that pierced through heaven and earth. In the surroundings, there were a lot of people who had come because of the fame. When they saw such a terrifying scene, they did not dare to get close. If they were killed, it would be such a waste. A moment later, the world returned to darkness. Xiao Yi's entire body emitted a pure white light. He was so extraordinary that people couldn't help but want to worship him. I didn't expect you to have such strength in just a few months. No wonder you're so arrogant. Feng Tian said softly. The gloves on his hands didn't show any signs of weakening. It was a prehistoric godly item that had shocking battle strength. Xiao Yi's temperament became faintly discernible just now. Ants, why aren't you kneeling down and submitting to me? These words were completely reasonable. Then, take my punch first. Feng Tian shouted. The gloves on his hand seemed to have sensed its master's anger and started to move. Without any exaggerated destruction, Feng Tian punched out with a loud bang. This was the difference between godly items. For example, ancient godly items would release their power and greatly weaken themselves. However, prehistoric godly items didn't have such exaggerated special effects. By condensing all their power, the power produced would be horrifying. Xiao Yi snorted. He didn't see the true nature of the gloves. He raised his Xianyuan sword and stabbed out. A terrifying black radiance that brought along destructive power struck towards Feng Tian's fist. Feng Tian didn't have the slightest bit of fear. After all, this was a genuine prehistoric godly item. Lowly ant, die. Xiao Yi shouted, and the black radiance on Xianyuan's sword became even more terrifying. Feng Tian laughed, seemingly mocking Xiao Yi's ignorance. When the gloves and Xianyuan's sword came into contact, there wasn't any explosion. Because the tip of Xianyuan's sword began to bend, as if a piece of metal was being squeezed by a powerful force. Xiao Yi opened his eyes wide and looked at his Xianyuan sword in disbelief as it started to bend. This is impossible. How did you do it? Did you use some sort of smokescreen? Xiao Yi muttered. He was completely unable to accept what was happening in front of him. This is my own Xianyuan sword. How can this be? In actuality, this Xianyuan sword is only an imitation, the real Xianyuan sword is still in voidless realm. Shao Yi, you overestimate yourself too much. You are nothing more than an insignificant chess piece in this world. Qing Tian laughed lightly. Shao Yi abruptly retreated and threw away the Xianyuan sword in his hand. If not, that fist would have injured him. The Xianyuan sword that looked like a scrap metal fell onto the ground. Feng Tian didn't mind it at all, and the intersecting golden and red radiance on the Xianyuan sword was sucked clean in an instant. Chapter 567. Qing Tian naturally saw Feng Tian's action and laughed lightly. Of course, he didn't put Shao Yi, who suddenly appeared in his eyes, and he just stood there motionlessly. Big brother Qing, be careful. Wang Debao couldn't help but shout out. This Qing Tian is actually standing there motionlessly, don't get careless. Bai Zixin and Feng Di who were at the side didn't say anything, seemingly wanting to see just what kind of person Qing Tian is and how strong he is. After all, Qing Tian has always been the one giving orders to everyone. If he doesn't have powerful strength, how can he be the team leader? This scene was seen by Qing Tian. Shao Yi, who was crazily slaughtering, arrived in front of Qing Tian, but Qing Tian still didn't move. However, right at this moment, Shao Yi's body actually stopped. If the spiritual sword were to move forward a centimeter, it would be able to touch Qing Tian's forehead and even penetrate through his head. However, Shao Yi was unable to do it, because his body couldn't move at all. Shao Yi, actually, we used to be a very good team, what a pity. Qing Tian slowly said. Seeing Shao Yi struggling in midair, everyone was shocked. Just how did Qing Tian do this? Although in Feng Di's eyes, Shao Yi is a bit weak, but to control Shao Yi like this, even Feng Di wouldn't be able to do it, let alone Wang Debao and Bai Zixin. Chen Xuanzong who was at the side was stupefied. This man is too terrifying, isn't he? Shao Yi's powerful spiritual energy disappeared in an instant. Qing Tian. You guys are ruthless. Shao Yi's gaze was filled with unwillingness. I just reincarnated this morning, and I didn't expect that I would die in less than a day. Qing Tian took out a napkin, wiped the back of his hand, then folded it and said lightly, Shao Yi, it's not that we are ruthless, but since we are already dead, why bother reincarnating? You know that we are going to capture those who reincarnated. Today, I, Shao Yi, have nothing to say about falling into your hands, but I still have a request. Shao Yi seemed to have given up on resisting, because the other party was too strong. Even without Qing Tian, there was still Feng Di. Qing Tian nodded his head, if I can do it, I will satisfy you. Destroy voidless realm. Shao Yi said coldly. Qing Tian frowned, then raised his head and looked towards Shao Yi. All right, I promise you. Give me a quick death. Shao Yi slowly closed his eyes. There was a hint of exhaustion on his face. In the end, Shao Yi was also a pitiful person. He only wanted the Shao family to become stronger and for his wife and children to live a different life. Everyone had this kind of thought, but everyone's method was different. Shao Yi was one of those people who chose the wrong method. If he had submitted to death mage right from the start, there wouldn't be such a situation right now. He might even be able to live happily with his family right now, and he might even have the chance to revive his wife. All right, I'll satisfy your request. Qing Tian smiled and pointed at Shao Yi's forehead with his index finger. Shao Yi trembled violently and his skin turned gray. Then, he fell to the ground, lifeless. Shao Yi's storage bag fell into the hands of heaven and earth. This rebirth usually brought along good things, just like the dragon blade that was given to him at level 100. Debao, you have to cut off what needs to be cut off, okay? Qin Tiandi reminded him. Oh, all right. Wang Debao said blankly. This move that Wang Debao had just performed had shocked everyone. Looking at Qin Tiandi said faintly, your performance today isn't good, so your distribution will be a bit less. Qin Tiandi didn't say anything, which could be considered as him agreeing. Wang Debao's performance is not bad, and his photography skills are also good. Qin Tiandi started to comment. Wang Debao laughed foolishly. I often help my wife take photos, so I practiced it. Bai Zixin glared at her husband. How can you say something like this? From now on, you will be the team's publicist. Qin Tiandi patted on Wang Debao's shoulder. This made Wang Debao a bit scared. The method that Qin Tiandi used to kill Xiao Yi was too terrifying. It was practically no different from killing an ant. Don't worry, I will do it well. Wang Debao said sincerely. Is your team still lacking people? A soft voice sounded from the side. Chen Xuanzong could be seen walking over slowly. Just now, he saw Xiao Yi die, and his mood was very good. Although he wasn't taking revenge for himself, he still saw his enemy die. Qin Tiandi laughed loudly. You are most welcome. Thank you. Chen Xuanzong felt that he had found a team. This group of people is too strong. If I join them, I will definitely be able to kill that damned Long Outyen and save Qinya. In actuality, Chen Xuanzong was a bit scared, because he had just heard a lot of things. If he were to leave just like that, he would most likely be killed. Knowing the strength of the other party, how would Chen Xuanzong dare to leave? Therefore, he could only request to join them. Furthermore, the other party's target seemed to be Voidless Realm. Just thinking about that Long Outyen hiding in Voidless Realm made Chen Xuanzong tremble in anger. Qin Tiandi opened up his arms and shouted gravely, from today onwards, our Justice Alliance will officially fire the first shot. Also, we welcome new comrades to join us. At such an exciting moment, we should go and do something. How about we grab some skewers? Wang Debao suggested. Qin Tiandi nodded, good idea. However, it's the first day of Chinese New Year, there shouldn't be any restaurants that are open, right? I know a restaurant that is open, the chicken wings there are very delicious. Chen Xuanzong said. After all, I have just joined them, it's not bad to treat them to supper. Qin Tiandi was very happy. All right, let our new members lead the way. Then, how are we going to deal with Xiao Yi's corpse? Wang Debao asked curiously. Qin Tiandi sighed lightly. No matter what, we are still colleagues, let's take a photo as a souvenir. Everyone, Chen Xuanzong cursed in his heart. Xiao Yi is already dead, and you are still taking a photo as a souvenir. Damn pervert. However, Qin Tiandi's move just now had indeed frightened everyone, and thus, no one dared to offend him. And the result was, Chen Xuanzong and Wang Debao held on to Xiao Yi's corpse and had a big reunion. Then, Qin Tiandi burned Xiao Yi's corpse with fire. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, I hope that Xiao Yi can be a good person in his next life and live a peaceful life. Those who died were all greedy people. Lao Wu barbecue was quite famous in Zijin City. Even if it was the first night of Chinese New Year, the place would still be packed with people. The 6 members of Justice Alliance finally managed to get a seat. Chapter 568. Feng Tian and Feng Di remained silent. Wang Debao and Bai Zixin were already used to it, but Chen Xuanzong, who had just arrived, was not used to it. The weak are prey to the strong will naturally get it first. Chen Xuanzong said solemnly. Qin Tiandi patted onto Chen Xuanzong's shoulder and said earnestly, young man, your life is too short. If you were as long as me, you would understand. Seeing that Chen Xuanzong was unwilling to accept it, Qing Tiandi planned to use his own words to convince Chen Xuanzong, to let him understand that being long is very useful. The other four immediately ignored him. This Chen Xuanzong is going to be brainwashed again. Right now, the Cultivation World's Forum was in an uproar. The Righteous Alliance had really destroyed Xiao Yi. And even insta-killed him. There is also a fellow who wore boxing gloves, and it seems like he was able to defeat Xiao Yi as well. This is truly terrifying. That previous post was immediately dug out by someone, and the number of comments reached several tens of thousands. The moderator even added a gem to the post. Justice Alliance is too awesome. How do I join? I want to join too. My God, I want to join too. This is the place that I yearn for. That's right, Voidless Realm and Ning family don't care about anything, we might as well join this Justice Alliance. That's right, finally, a powerful organization stood out and ended this ridiculous monopoly. Only by joining the Justice Alliance can my life be guaranteed. I want to leave the South. I want to leave the North too. A large number of people who wanted to leave appeared on the Cultivation World's Forum. Qing Tiandi was very satisfied with everyone's attitude. This is the right choice, there is no need to rely on those two big powers. Should I learn more about Justice Alliance? Within Voidless Realm, Yi Hua and his two wives were also looking at the post on the Cultivation World's Forum, and they were a bit surprised. To Yi Hua, this Qing Tiandi is not bad. He has some brains. I can play with you a bit, bullying you with my strength is nothing, after all, we are all people who use brains. This Qing Tiandi is a schemer. Qing Yi said gravely while hugging onto her son who was sleeping soundly. Dong Wang Baiji was also hugging onto Ali, who was sleeping soundly, and said in a low voice, "That's right, you exchanged Xiao Yi for such a great value." Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then said faintly, "This Xiao Yi killed so many people, whoever acted to kill him would be a hero. Furthermore, the one who acted is an organization, and the one who instantly killed Xiao Yi is even more so an organization. Furthermore, this person's attitude is very good and down to earth, it would be weird if he didn't jump ship." Dong Wang Baiji rolled her eyes at her husband, "Then why are you still making us wait? If Xiao Yi is killed by us, wouldn't Voidless Realm's reputation become even greater?" "That's right," Qing Yi said lightly. With regards to her husband, she was very confused. "Women, your hair is long, but your knowledge is short," Yi Hua said indifferently. He was very pleased with himself. "I just like to bully my wife." Qing Yi and Dong Huang Baiji immediately looked towards their husband. They seemed to be saying, "Try and teach us another lesson." Yi Hua stopped here and said softly, "If we were to make a move, then what reason would they have to make a move? If they want to become famous, then we will give them a chance. Moreover, I'm afraid that Sky Pillar doesn't just need these." "Then, what does he want?" Qing Yi asked curiously. Yi Hua flicked away the ash on his cigarette, then took a puff and exhaled. The smoke lingered in the air, causing his two wives to wrinkle their brows. Some people like authority, some people like money, some people like supreme strength, and some people like to play. Hearing what her husband meant, Dong Huang Baiji asked puzzledly, "What kind of person is Sky Pillar?" "Play." This was what Qing Yi felt. Yi Hua nodded his head, and, this kind of person likes to be in control of the entire situation. They like the feeling of having everything in their hands, and they feel that this kind of person is very smart. Qing Yi and Dong Huang Baiji simultaneously looked towards Yi Hua, seemingly to be saying, "Isn't this you?" Cough, 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 what are you looking at? Be careful that I don't slap the two of you. Yi Hua's expression became stiff. When a tiger doesn't show off, do you think that I am a sick cat? The two of you are very arrogant and have even learned to talk back to me. The two women snorted and began to lecture Yihua again. Having a husband like this is also a kind of helplessness. From the looks of it, hubby, you already have a plan. Donghuang Baiji asked. Yihua extinguished the cigarette but, of course. Tell us, let us listen to your plan. Qinya was very curious, she wanted to hear what kind of plan her husband had come up with. Let nature take its course. Yihua said faintly, then stood up and walked back to his room to sleep, leaving his two wives to sit in the courtyard. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji went into a daze for a moment, then shouted out, Yihua, will you die if you don't act cool? I will. At a remote mountainous area, smoke was currently emitting out from the chimney of a small thatched cottage. A change of clothes was hung on a rope outside the thatched cottage, and there were a few old hens inside the cage. The light in the small thatched cottage was still on. My little darling, do you want to sleep? Long Outyin could be seen leaning onto Meng Meng's stomach, wanting to listen to the child's voice. Meng Meng had been pregnant for around 6 months. During this period of time, Long Outyin had been taking care of his wife attentively and didn't have any thoughts of going out. Outyin, there are still a few more months. Meng Meng said happily. Because she felt that Long Outyin didn't have any thoughts of going out, it seemed like he could stay here and accompany her. Long Outyin was very excited as he gestured with his hands, I am too excited. In a few more months, I will have a child, haha. Alright, don't be so excited every day. Meng Meng laughed lightly and stroked her sideburns. Long Outyin retracted his excited expression, I really want to tell the whole world about this and share the joy of this moment. But there are only us here. Meng Meng let out a breath. Long Outyin suddenly thought of something, there is one more. Is it that person who is chasing after you? Yesterday, on Chinese New Year's Eve, I asked you to come over and have a meal with me, but you didn't want to. In any case, that person has been chasing after you for half a year. Long Outyin, I will go out for a while first, I will be back soon. Be careful, if you can't win, just run back. Got it. Long Outyin ran madly. I haven't fought with that skeleton for a few months, I wonder if it is still there or not. I am coming. Long Outyin shouted out loudly. Swish. A black figure instantly appeared not far away from him, it was precisely Death Assassin. Death Assassin seemed to have been forgotten by everyone. Because Death Assassin had never completed this mission, he had always been guarding this place. Even on Chinese New Year's Eve, he was still leaning on a big tree and pondering about the future. Skeleton. My Dragon God technique is already at the 5th level. Today, let us properly play. Long Outyin's body trembled, and a burst of spiritual energy suddenly burst out from his body. Death Assassin looked at Long Outyin indifferently and let out a breath. GGG, Imperial Translation, why aren't you dead yet? You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.